Holy cow, we've done it. Here we are. Streaming. No TikTok today, just me. I'm gonna tell you straight up, my man, that guy, good to see you, bud. I am sick, for sure. I'm sick. I think I'm on the tail end of it, so hopefully this will be okay, but I am definitely definitely got that kind of attitude. And honestly, I don't know. What a strange, dumb world we live in. Hi, Conton. How you doing, bud? Good to see you. Everything feels stupid. And just getting stupider by the day. And yeah, thank you, Kratos. I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take the reference. Appreciate that. I just got to get the body for it now, Conton. That's right. I just got to get Max Payne 3. Very good. Very good. Is that real? Is that real? Max Payne 3? Hold on. Sarah, good to see you. Christopher, hold on. Max Payne 3. I just got to get the body for Kratos. I'm working on it. Nah, Max Payne 3. He doesn't I got a better beard than him. Come on. Look at this wussy beard. Nah, dude. Kratos is where it's at. Kratos. God of War. Yeah. Yeah, now we're talking, right? I've been doing a lot of chin-up bar work. I've been doing a lot of push-ups. So hopefully one day you guys are going to tune in and you're going to be like, oh shit, John is actually Kratos. I'll just change my name to Kratos. Kratos the Communist. Huh? Huh? How's that going? How do you get that thing over the chin-up bar? Yeah, one step at a time. Ironmonger, very good. Very good. Yeah, I was sort of anticipating, as you guys can tell by my response to this, I was sort of anticipating there was going to be some kind of commentary in regards to me getting rid of the hair. Yeah, I just had a moment where I was like, I have been contemplating getting rid of the hair for a while. And if you guys are regulars on the stream, you know that I have been going through something of a midlife crisis. And I just came to realize that, the hair was like a fake presentation. I was presenting a false version of myself. And I feel like now that I shaved it, I actually feel stronger. I feel like a more powerful person. I feel more like myself. I feel older, obviously, because I think that part of all of this is that I feel older, right? Turning 40 was like a big moment. A lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, honestly. And it's interesting talking to other people who are past the age of 40, right? You talk to people who are... When you're 30 or even 35 and you talk to people who are over the age of 40, they'll talk about a midlife crisis and all that kind of stuff, and you're kind of well, okay, I guess. When you talk to them afterwards, it's there's this sense of camaraderie almost that comes with it, where they're just oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I don't know that it can actually be explained. That it really is just this is the moment where you begin to decline. And that's just the hard truth of it. That when you hit 40, you can't debate it, you can't argue it, you can't fight back against it, you can't negotiate with it. There's nothing to be said, there's nothing to be done. You just know intrinsically, inside of yourself, that this is the moment when you are beginning your decline. And that is a difficult thing to face, and it's a difficult thing to accept. And there's a lot of changes that happen in your life, and they happen faster than you like. And suddenly, you just have to accept that there are lots of people in the world who used to treat you one way that will treat you another. But I'm still alive, still kicking, Still fighting the good fight. But I'm also sick. Staz, good to see you. Yeah, CR Strifey, but CR Strifey says I think technically your body starts to decline after age 30, but it becomes undeniable and real. I think is the like when you're 30. Here, I'll put it this way, right? Here's a good way of thinking about it. When you're 30 and you speak to somebody who's 25, they are going to talk to you as if you are essentially equals and peers, right? There's no difference there. When you're 40 and you talk to somebody who's 25, you are not peers. You're not. Like, maybe you can be, like, cordial and, like, friendly or whatever, but, like, you're not. They're never going to allow an equivalency there. And that separation that certainly exists is difficult to accept, and it's difficult to understand, and you don't really want to believe that it's going to be that way, but it definitely is. Yeah. 39, 37. Guys, I'll tell you, man, I was 39 like 6 months ago. I was 39 6 months ago. There's just something that happens. There's just something that happens inside of your consciousness. There's something that happens. There's a flip of the switch. 40. Like, it's a big round number. 4 decades. 40. And it's something that goes throughout your emotional consciousness and goes throughout your emotional core. And it's something that reverberates deeply, deeply, deeply inside of you. Where you just can't pretend anymore. You can't pretend you're a young man anymore. You can't pretend like you're, a kid anymore. You can't, any of that's gone. And the world itself will treat you differently. Like, it will. Like, it just legitimately will. And yeah, it's really sidewinding. So I'm coming out of it. And of course, while I'm doing that, I've had to poison my entire apartment because of a roach infestation, and now I'm feeling sick. It's just like, feel like this last week was just one thing after another. Good evening, Eric. Good to see you. Content, I'm in better shape today than I was at 31. Well, and my hope, Content, is that, like, I'm actually on an upswing when it comes to my physical fitness and my physical health. Like I've said before, I installed this chin-up bar. I've been doing more push-ups and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like I am going to get, like, my goal is to actually get, like, strong again, And I think it's going to happen. I was looking back at some pictures of when I was, like, fairly physically fit, and I was actually a lot better than I thought that I was at the time. It's interesting how it works, right? Like, you have a perception of yourself that doesn't necessarily meet with reality. That everybody has an idea or an image of what they look like or how they are or what they're projecting into the world, and that doesn't necessarily meet up with reality. And now I'm looking back on pictures of myself from not that long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm like looking at these pictures being like, oh, I actually look like really good in these pictures, and I can see where my weaknesses are. And my weakness is that I never had a chin-up bar. Straight up. Just like I'm looking at my body then, and I'm going, oh yeah, like I could have, if I just get my shoulder strength up, and get broader across here, that would be like really, really good. Ben, good to see you. Feels like more people are going to the gym since COVID. Well, one thing that happened over COVID that doesn't get a lot of play is that there were a bunch of people who broke up. There's a bunch of people breaking up over COVID, right? And so I feel like lots of people are getting back into the gym and getting into, because they're my age and they're single all of a sudden. Although, heaven help us, nobody can actually meet up. Like, where do you even go to meet people? I've deleted all of these fucking apps because people kept trying to run identity fraud scams on me. So I was just like, fuck it. Yeah, I guess so, Loaf. I guess we're talking about fitness today. I don't know, dude. I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling fed up with everything. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna talk about. All my usual shit was shitty and ship. Take care of your shoulders. They're a real problem later on. I'm more worried about my knees. I banged up my knee pretty bad when I was a kid, when I was like 16, and it's always sort of followed me around. I jumped off the roof of a moving vehicle, if you can believe that. Eric says, you can now walk an hour and not totally exhausted. That's good, Eric. Small gains, man. Small gains. That's what it is. It's all small gains. Like, right now, if I can get my chin above that chin-up bar one time, uh, I feel pretty happy about it. I feel pretty happy about it. Anemone, good to see you. Yeah, I feel that that's actually right. And maybe even less than that. Like the speed by which I am improving, the speed by which that I'm improving physically is noticeable. Like I literally am going from like 10 push-ups to 20 very over the space of like a month. And I don't suspect that those gains will ramp up in that way. Like I'm not going to be doing 40 in a month from now, but but it's happening a lot faster than I thought it was going to. And I'm really glad that I started doing this. And I got to really thank, there was this young lady at work who, she showed up to work one day and she had lost like an incredible amount of weight very, very quickly. And I talked to her about it because I was concerned about her health. Is she doing it right and all this? And she was like, no, yeah, I just like stopped. I just started walking more and I just stopped eating badly. And it happened so quickly, and it just like inspired me to be like, okay, you know what? These sorts of changes can happen very quickly. They can happen very quickly, and you just got to do it. You know, you just got to do it. Why do I display the Canadian flag? Because I'm Canadian, and I'm the Canadian commie, and so I figure it's on brand, Ben. That's why I do it. Compton says, what makes me happy as an older person is the first time in my life I can do 10 pull-ups straight. Wow, that's really good. And I couldn't even do that when I was 7 days a week martial artist. Dude, 10 pull-ups? If I could do 10 pull-ups, I would never shut up about it. I think maybe the best I was ever able to do was 5. But I was doing that without having a chin-up bar. Like, I would be able to do that if I was like, we showed up to some monkey bars or something like that, and I would just do like some chin-ups just to see what I could do. I wasn't actually training for it. It's March 6th, so it is. Did I screw up? What did I do? Did I do a thing? What have I done? Did I put in the wrong date here? Yes, I did. Let's just change that up. Like I said, I'm feeling sick, so I'm going to blame it on that. March 6th. Thank you, Cotton. We got 8 viewers, only 2 likes. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. We got 8 viewers, only 2 likes. Come on. Come on. Hit the like button. Hit the thing. Ugh. Loaf, I've coached gymnastics for roughly 13 to 14 years now. With regular training, transformation is definitely achievable. Nice. Yeah, my whole thing is like, I've got this chin-up bar right over here. Literally every time I walk by it, I just grab hold of it, do a couple chin-ups. Right? Like, go over, just do some push-ups. Ben wants to move on. Ben wants to get into the news. I'm like, yep, I can appreciate this. Ben... we're not here to talk fitness. This isn't a fitness channel, right? I'm sure you've talked about this over the past few days. What is my take on the China election interference scandal? I think it's basically CSIS with the government stirring up anti-Chinese sentiment in order to get the populace primed for a war against China. That's what I think it is from start to finish. Like, think about when you look at the facts surrounding the China election interference scandal. It's basically like a Chinese embassy hired some vans in order to get elderly Chinese women to a voting booth. It's like, so an embassy did the thing that embassies do, and we're reporting on it as if it's this big interference scandal where there's like, oh my god, China's interference and all this, and like it really, I don't really think that it's a very serious thing, but we're obviously a very dim-witted people, so we can be convinced of believing, like, and I think one of the things that's the most the most ridiculous part about it is that even the people who are the most like, the Chinese are interfering with our elections and all, even these guys are saying, yeah, but like the impact of that interference wouldn't have swayed the election, right? Like it really is like this fascist trope of just like China is both overwhelmingly powerful, like they can literally swing our elections, but they're so weak that we should just be able to roll them over in a fight. Like, it's obviously just hysteria building. Like, that's what they're doing. They're obviously just trying to make us all hysterical about China. Like, it's why we keep getting dumb stories like these Chinese balloons. It's why we keep getting, like, over and over again these just ridiculous, brain-dead stories. Yeah, well, but it's even worse than, like, so what if Chinese people helped old Chinese people vote? Like, it's like, it's the role of an embassy, right? Like, the role of an embassy in any society is to provide services to immigrants from those countries, right? Like, when Chinese immigrants come to Canada, they go through the Chinese embassy, right? And yeah, also, what's wrong with voting, right? No, the problem with voting is that it's Chinese people doing it. Like, that's the bottom line on all of this. That's what nobody wants to actually, like, say aloud and point out, is that the problem isn't with voting, it's that it's Chinese people voting. That's the problem. And this story is just laden with white supremacist dog whistles. It's just laden with like the white replacement theory bullshit. When you look at the story and you actually try to parse, okay, like what has actually happened here? What is the scandal? The scandal is that Chinese embassies provided a service to Chinese immigrants, which is the role of a Chinese embassy. It's the role of any embassy. If you were living in China, there would be a Canadian embassy that you could go to get services, and one of those services would be providing you information and perhaps direction, if not support to getting to a voting booth. Like, this is so, like, you've got to literally be brain dead to actually listen to this story and think to yourself, this is a real problem for kids. This is something that we should really be writing articles about and having serious discussions about. It's really, really fucking stupid. And, like, the more you think on it, the stupider it gets. Yeah, but wait, people tell me to vote all the time. Do I blame Democrats for convincing people to vote for GOP? Yes. Yes, you should. So I do have some stories here. Oh my goodness. I love this story. This one comes out of The Guardian. China leading US in technology race in all but a few fields, think tank finds. Year-long study finds China leads in 37 of 44 areas it tracked, with potential for a monopoly in areas such as nanoscale materials and synthetic biology. The United States and other Western countries are losing the race with China to develop advanced technologies and retain talent, with Beijing potentially establishing a monopoly in some areas, a new report has said. China leads in 37 of 44 technologies tracked in a year-long project by think tank the Australian Strategic Policy Institute. The field includes electric batteries, hypersonics, and advanced radio frequency communications such as 5G and 6G. The report, published on Thursday, said the U.S. was the leader in just the remaining 7 technologies such as vaccine, quantum computing, and space launch systems. It said the findings were based on high-impact research in critical emerging technological fields, focusing on papers that were published in top-tier journals and were highly cited by subsequent research. Our research reveals that China has built the foundations to position itself as the world's leading science and technology superpower by establishing a sometimes stunning lead in high-impact research across the majority of critical and emerging technology domains, the report said. The Critical Technology Tracker shows that for some technologies, all the world's top leading 10 research institutes are based in China and are collectively generating 9 times more high-impact research papers than the second-ranked country, most often the U.S. The Chinese Academy of Sciences, ranked first or second in most of the 44 technologies included in the tracker, the report added. Like, what do I keep saying on this channel? What do I keep saying over and over and over again? We are going to get left behind. We're going to get completely left behind. And now we're starting to see very clear articles and very clear evidence and very clear and obvious things that are saying we in 37 of 44 areas tracked, we are losing out to the way the Chinese operate and the way that the Chinese do things. And if I were to analyze this using a Marxist lens, it would be as easy as saying, oh, there's just no profit for the ownership class or the billionaire class in doing R&D. This is something that we've known for decades now. I remember being in university and people were talking about this very thing, where they were like, yeah, there's no, like, it's always the public that does the research. That it's the public purse that does the research, and then the capitalists come and they privatize everything and they take it for themselves. Someone like Bill Gates did this with computers. That they're not going to take their money and put it into research and development. Whereas the Chinese are like, yeah, we will. We absolutely will. We'll create a department of research and we'll put billions upon billions of dollars there and have hundreds and hundreds of people who are just literally there to just research for the sake of researching. Well, and what's the result? The result is that China is leading, and it's going to get more and more dramatic. I think that's the thing that most people are not prepared for, is how dramatic the technological differences are going to become. That we're going to be sitting around basically talking about how awesome VCRs are, while China is going to be like downloading files off of a cloud. Like the disparity is going to be that vast, and we're still going to be using like tapes and shit, while the Chinese are just going to be like what are you talking about? Like. I of course can only imagine the technologies that'll come out of these sorts of things, but we'll be talking about how like, yeah, we've got a jet that can go 100,000 kilometers an hour at high speed altitude, and the Chinese will be like, oh yeah, we can open a portal, and we can teleport to Mars. Like that's the type of disparities that we're talking about that are going to begin becoming more and more obvious. And the more we resist it, and the more we hype up our hysteria against China, the more and more isolated we are going to become. And I keep talking to people, and the thing I just keep thinking is that we really do need a period of isolation as the West. Like, we really do need to be isolated. Like, we're not grown up enough. We're not smart enough. We're not clever enough. We're deeply, deeply, deeply racist. Like, deeply, deeply racist and deeply xenophobic. We are not prepared. Like, we can't even take care of our own. Like, we're not even interested in, and we're not interested in it. Like, that's the thing, I think, that is the real proof in the pudding, that we're not even interested in giving a shit about our own citizens, right? That if you fall into homelessness or despair or poverty or something like this, well, get fucked, get a better job. That's literally all you're told. And there's not even a sense within any segment of the society that says maybe we shouldn't be like that. Maybe we should actually give a shit about our own citizens. Maybe we should actually care about the well-being of the society. Maybe we should actually try to build unifying projects. Maybe we should actually deal with this rampant inequality. Maybe we should do that kind of thing. You can see, like, I think that there are, like, some voices out there. Someone like Bernie Sanders, right, gets a lot of play, but it doesn't look like there's a genuine push in any serious direction. And if I'm China or India or Africa or South America or certainly the Middle East or Russia, I'm thinking to myself, we got to get away from these guys. We gotta isolate these guys. Like, these guys are acting like crazed lunatics, not just in their own society, but also on the world stage. Like, we've got to do something about this. And my feeling is it's well earned. Like, it's well earned. We've definitely earned it. And you're starting to see China is beginning to do more and more serious things. Right? This is from Markets Insider. I can't get my money out. Billionaire investor Mark Mobius says China is restricting flows of capital out of the country. Yeah, because they're not fucking stupid like we are. Right? That China doesn't view the capitalist class as gods. They don't view them as people to be worshipped, as good, because they're simply good. China's not going to just allow people to pull capital out of their country, right? Like, that's always been something that I've been the capitalist class would always say, or the simps for capital would always say, well, if you raise taxes on the capitalists, then they'll just pull their money out and leave. And I was always like, what, do you think these guys are like gods? Like, do you think that they're literally like Jesus Christ? Like, do you genuinely think that these people have superpowers, that they can just move their money around willy-nilly? Like, and it's obvious that the answer to that became yes, that we worship money and we worship those who have money, exclusively because they have money, not because they're worthwhile or smart or intelligent or anything. Just they have money, therefore they are good. And China, on the other hand, is saying, no, get fucked. Like, get completely fucked. If you want to put your money in here, well, you're in for the long haul. Tough tits. Like, we're not just going to allow you to impoverish our nation and abandon the society the way that you abandoned your own, right? Like, too fucking bad. How's a name like Mobius, right? How's a name like Mobius in the first place? Mark Mobius, a pioneer in emerging markets investing, said China is restricting investment outflows from the country, a move that would be taking place as the world's second largest economy is trying to shake off pressure from COVID-19 lockdowns. I mean, I love that the narrative that is coming from the West is that it's China trying to shake off COVID-19 lockdown pressure and all that kind of stuff. When, near as I can tell, China's decision-making basically revolves around getting ready for a war with America. Like, that's what's actually happening in the world. That China is increasing its defense spending by 7.2%. Like, it's to 1.56 trillion won. $230 billion American, according to a draft released Sunday by the Ministry of Finance. Its defense budget grew by 7.1 last year. So it is looking to get ready for a war with America. And the idea that its decision making is revolving around, like, it's a very odd position, I find, that Westerners have, that China is making its decisions strictly based on financialization. That's something that I think is just getting stranger and stranger and stranger to watch. Westerners continuously try to pretend as though China's decision making is the same as ours, which is that we worship money, right? So if somebody has a lot of money, then that's good just by the force of it existing, right? You don't need to create an alternative argument that, oh, he made money, therefore good. And China simply doesn't view it that way. And it's very, very obvious and very, very clear that that's the case. That if your argument from the capitalist perspective is that China is, and I see this all the time. People continuously try to make this argument that China is going to experience some big collapse because there's this financialization argument that oh, well, the financial sector and the financial this and the financials, and it's just like there's this misunderstanding or active stupidity. Like it's not even a misunderstanding. Like it's there does come a point where you have to start calling it like an intentional stupidity. That we have to be dumb about this. That we can't understand that the whole point of having any financial sector whatsoever is to build real assets. And we just don't seem capable of understanding that. And there just comes a point where I have to say, like, it seems intentional. It seems as though if you stood in a room with people and said, surely clean drinking water is more important than money, they would have to play dumb and pretend like that's not the case somehow, because that's what the system is rewarding. That's how they're being rewarded. Yeah, Westerners don't know what war communism and siege communism is. Yeah, like, and nor do they care about, like, I'm literally having conversations with people who think that it's totally fine that the United States has surrounded China with military bases. Like, fascism is the most important ideology and the most popular ideology in North America, without a doubt. Like, and I don't think that it's close. Like, I don't think it's close. I think it's fascism, and then maybe, like, if you go down 1,000 points, maybe liberalism is up there. But as like a distant second. But fascism seems to be like the most important and most prominent ideology, because our position here in the West is literally like, yeah, we can put military bases where we like, and if you don't like it, too bad. And we're good, you're bad, obviously, so get fucked. And it just seems to me that, like, when the rest of the world begins to isolate us for the way that we're acting, we deserve it. We're fascists. Like, pretty black and white, pretty straightforwardly. Transylvanian, good to see you. Meanwhile, the U.S. is still spending over 4 times as much on China as China on the military, yet the two countries' GDPs are getting closer and closer every day. Yeah. If I was a conservative, I would say the U.S. is not living within its means. Well, and the U.S. is ensuring that it's like, all it's doing is building up its military capacity. Like, that's all it's doing, and it's gutting its education sector. It's gutting its health sector. It's gutting all of its other sectors. Like, it's gutting everything. It's destroying itself. Like, this is what's wild to watch America do, is like, there's a perverse kind of logic behind committing another country to despair and desperation, right? That you're if you hollow out another country and take their goods and services and transfer it to your own country, there's like a perverse kind of logic to that at least at the base, at the bottom of that, there is this idea that we do better. Like that makes a type of sense in its own perverse sort of way. But what America is doing now, and what these transnational corporations are doing now, is they're hollowing out America. They're hollowing out the mother country itself in order to get more wealth for themselves, or more financial power for themselves. It's like the Americans are committing 100 years of humiliation to themselves. That's what it's like. That's what it seems like we're watching, and it's just, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you want, even the most like rapacious, psychopathic, crazed lunatic wants to be operating in a country that is strong. And they're doing everything they can to absolutely weaken their own country. EU politicians are talking about starting to emulate the US, increasing defense spending at the expense of everything else and transitioning to a war economy. But with what money? Yeah. And like, it does come down to like, what do you actually care about? And if you don't care about drinkable water or breathable air or arable land or any of that, and all you really care about is spreading this death cult, right? That's all you really care about, is just spreading a death cult around. Then that's what you're going to do. Like, that's what you're going to do, and that's what we're watching them do. That they're going to poison the water. They're going to poison the land. They're going to poison the air. They're going to do all of this. They're going to transfer all of their civil services into a war economy. They're going to do these things because the ethos of Western capital, the ethos of fascism, is just death and destruction for the sake of it. That there's no prevailing logic. Like, I think that's the big thing. That's the big thing that I think we should constantly remind ourselves, that we are not operating from a place of rationale. Like, we're not living in a world where our leadership is acting rationally. That we are worshiping stupidity, we are worshiping the self, and we are worshiping money. And once you understand that we are irrational, we are acting out of a deep place of fear, once you understand that, then things make a lot more sense. And you can definitely start to say, like, oh, like, we're just like scared little monkeys with nuclear bombs. Like, that's really all it is. We're just scared little monkeys with nuclear bombs. We don't know how to be reasonable. We don't know what rationale is. We don't know what that is. We pretend like we know. And if you confront somebody about it, like your Shapiros or your Petersons, they'll put on a show. They'll put on the rationale show. But they're scared little monkeys that are not capable of the basic beginnings of how do you actually act rational in the world. Is CSIS trustworthy? I wouldn't. I don't know why you'd ever trust organizations like CSIS. CSIS is CIA Junior. People who put forward like CSIS as trustworthy sources, I'm immediately like, oh, you're just discrediting yourself. Like, all you're doing is saying I'm a gullible person who will believe what I'm told by liars. Like, I wouldn't trust CSIS for a second. And when they put out statements like, oh, China's trying to influence our kind of thing, we should be deeply skeptical of them. Like, literally, when they say something, we should be saying sources, please. Like, what the fact that our news media is not looking at CSIS saying like, interesting story, buddy. Where's your sources? Sources, please. Can we get the story? Where's the alternative narrative? Like, the fact that that's not what's coming out of our news media tells you everything you need to know about our news media. That we shouldn't be trusting CSIS. Like, I think it's absolutely, like, we should trust CSIS as far as they've earned it, which is not at all. Like, not at all. You take a look at, like, the wars that have happened throughout the Middle East. Like, it's organizations like CSIS that are largely responsible for that. So we absolutely should be, listen to what they say, but understand that they're saying that for a reason. That they say the things they say for a reason. And it's never to help you, ever. Transylvanian says, a lot of brave talk these days about ramping up the war industry and developing hundreds of thousands of NATO troops on Russia's border, and it's not that easy. Europe just can't afford this. Well, and who are these people? Like, who are these people? Like, this is what I love about that narrative more than anything, right? Like, when Russia mobilized, the citizenry mobilized because they understood that what they were facing was an existential threat. And what they are facing is an existential threat. That the people who are mobilizing in Russia are thinking to themselves, if we don't actually do this, our country can be destroyed. That we can have NATO fascists and we can have Nazis come in here. We can experience that. That can happen. And they're not fucking around, right? That the people of Russia are operating from this place of existential fear, right? Whereas the people of Europe and the people of America are operating from a type of fear that is based in this idea that we might not be the kings of the world anymore. So it's this abstraction. It's this abstract idea of, like, oh, well, we need to be these rich people who are going to be the rulers, and we have prestige and honor and decency and dignity and blah, 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 right? All of this fucking fascist white supremacist nonsense. And but the people of Europe and the people of America, they're fat, lazy burger eaters that are sitting on their couches. Like, they're not getting off their couch and going to the front line. Like, that's not going to happen. We had, like, a smattering of that right at the beginning of the conflict that happened, right? The foreign fighters that went over. You had, like, maybe 1,000 people that showed up and were immediately confronted with the reality that this is a Nazi state, and got told to fuck off because they were useless. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, you're not going to get hundreds of thousands of NATO troops on Russia's border, because who's going to do this? Who's going to actually sign up to go do that? This isn't changing your Facebook profile page to have, like, a Ukrainian flag. This isn't like putting a little sticker on the back of your car, right? This is uprooting your life, going to boot camp, and then going to the front line to get murdered by Russians. Like, people aren't going to do that. People are fucking not going to do that. Content, anyone else kind of tired of explaining? Tell me about it, bud. I know Sankara would be disappointed, but it feels like the momentum of hostilities is moving much faster than it is to try and help the liberals deprogram. Yeah, I mean, but we got to do it. We got to do it. Like, if it's worse if you don't. It's worse if you don't. That's the real truth of it. It's just worse if you don't. And finding new ways, finding faster ways, finding ways to cut to the heart of it, right? So that you're, instead of explaining, like, you know, a 10-minute dissertation or a 30-minute dissertation, you get it down to a minute. Get it down to a single line if you can. I think that way about the Uyghur genocide stuff. Like, I went on, like, this big deep dive on, like, a Uyghur genocide thing, and I had, like, whole arguments, and I was doing a whole thing, but now I've really come to realize, like, I don't need to do any of that. I can just say, you don't give a fuck about Muslims. Shut up. Like, that's the bottom line. Like, these guys that are walking around being like, oh, the Muslims in China, shut up. You guys have been doing a war against Muslims in the Middle East for, like, fucking 40 years. Shut up. You don't care about Muslims. Like, what a fucking joke. Like, and that's all you have to say when it comes to this Uyghur genocide narrative. And that's so explicit that even the Biden administration is saying that we should stop saying that, because nobody's going to take that seriously. Because that's the truth. And so instead of needing to do like a half hour explanation of and like ask for sources and have like a big debate, you can just be like, fuck off. Like, what a disingenuous piece of shit thing to say. Yeah, you really care about Muslims while you're literally bombing Muslims throughout the Middle East. Like, shut the fuck up. So embarrassing. You don't explain for the sake of ideological hardened liberals. You do it for the vast majority that is mostly apolitical and confused and who are not yet deep in an ideology. I mean, there is that too. Ben, I wish I discovered this channel before the last federal election. Oh well, you're here now. No sense crying over spilt milk, right? Yeah, let's move forward as comrades. The next federal election is going to be such a fucking, like, it's such a fucking wash, man. Like, we literally have a conservative party that's in the lead, and the conservatives are basically just like, they're gonna gut the whole place. Like, you take a look at what's going on in the UK. That's what's happened. That's what's gonna happen here. The liberals, like, the liberals are literally funding Nazis abroad and like doing all kinds of bullshit stuff. They don't give a fuck about us at all. And then you have the NDP, who are worthless. The Greens, who are worthless. And like, we don't have a left wing representative at all, right? We've got like super far right fascist adjacents, if not overtly fascists, in the conservatives, and then you've got super far right fascists who literally fund fascists abroad in the liberals, and then you've got a right wing party called the NDP. And then you've got, who the fuck are these guys? The Green Party. And there's literally no one on the left. Like, literally no one. So it's just getting fucking embarrassing for us. Watson, good to see you. Yet the fact that people still have to explain simply shows the effect of nearly 100 years of anti-communist rhetoric. Yeah. Well, and honestly, why it's dangerous to do what we've done. Right? Like, it's dangerous to do McCarthyism. It's dangerous to do these sorts of things. And what you end up with is an antisocial, sociopathic society. Because if the only people who are allowed to stand up are basically the fascists, then what do you end up with? Eric, John, I was wondering if you were willing to discuss some USSR history. I have some questions regarding Stalin. Sure, dude. I don't know everything, but sure. Transylvanian, a common sabotage tactic used by COINTELPRO type wreckers is to get you to explain the same thing over and over and over again to waste your time. Yeah, the CIA wrote manuals explicitly laying this out. Yeah. Stalinist apologists. Whatever, dude. Like, oh no, we want to know what happened in the USSR. Like, oh no. Transylvanian, is that a productive discussion to have at this point in history? How does talking about Stalin the millionth time help advance the anti-war, anti-imperialist cause? Yeah. I don't know. Curiosity. Curiosity more than anything. And there are things to learn in the Soviet Union, right? There are things that we can learn. I mean, the society, the first people into space, the people who defeated the Nazis. UK has to nationalize their railroads ASAP. Such great infrastructure, but the national rail is a mess. Yeah, we need to, like, we need to be building a war economy against climate change. Like, that's really what we need to be doing as a people. That if there was any sense or reason in the society at all, we would 100% be saying, oh, there's this massive, enormous, looming existential threat that is 100% going to ramrod us. And we need to be restructuring our economies as fast as possible, as if we were at war, in order to fight against these existential threats. We're just not doing it. When he forces people to leave their homes? I don't know what you're even saying, dude. Honestly, dude, yeah, I'm kind of with Transylvanian on this one. Like, I don't really care that much to discuss, like, Stalin, like, something that happened, what, like 100 years ago, you know, like, and yeah, there are great resources, right? Ludo Martin's book, Grover Fur, is always a good source. Like, You can even read Trotsky. I think Watson would be happy to hear me reference Trotsky on that one. Oh. We have 20 cars of Norfolk Southern cargo train, another derailment in Ohio. About 20 cars of a Norfolk Southern cargo train derailed near Springfield Saturday evening. The second derailment of the company's trains in Ohio in a month, officials say. But unlike the February 3rd derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, a company spokesman said there were no hazardous materials aboard the train. Oh, that's good. No hazardous materials. Just a 20 train.
American authorities.
Right? Just a 20 train. Let's see it. Let's see it. Here we go. Isn't that nice? Isn't that great? Like, yeah. Just another derailment. Command genius. Here we go. Fight. Trotsky versus Stalin. Trotsky versus Stalin. I tend not to get too bogged into that. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, yeah. Canadian government will spend decades arguing over a carbon tax, which won't do F all while the world burns in front of them. Dude, there's derailments happening all the time now. Like, it's happening constantly. And it's like, this is the system of abandonment that we're talking about, right? This is the system of abandonment that we're talking about. That they have crunched the numbers, they've done the, and they've just realized that a derailment every so often. You know, that's fine. That still makes us a lot of money. And just watch, man. Watch when the federal government starts to do bailouts for these companies. That's what's going to start happening. We're going to start getting bailouts for these companies. And like, yep, these derailments are direct result of deregulation. Freedom. Yeah, I guess 50% profits isn't enough. Yeah. Like, it's just getting shocking. Like, it's just getting shocking that it just keeps happening. Guys, please do not start the Stalin Trotsky stuff. I'm just going to ban people. Like, I'm just going to put you guys in timeout. Like, I don't want it. I don't care. I'm not interested. I think it's boring. I think it's tedious. I think it's annoying. Like, I don't care. Please do not do it. Like, I will just put people in timeout. I'm tired. I'm sick. I find the conversation to be annoying. Ugh. No, I was being sarcastic. Sorry, Command Genius. Like, I genuinely find that conversation to be so fucking annoying. Like, it's honestly like listening to people debate which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars. Like, that's what it is. Like, I don't think it's useful. I don't even think it's interesting. Like, are the works of Trotsky interesting to read? Yeah. Are the works of Stalin interesting to read? Yeah. But this, like, constant petty rivalry that exists, this pissing match that has been handed down to Marxists, I can't think of a better way for capitalists to try to get in the way of the pursuit of Marxism. If I was a capitalist, I would 100% always be like, yeah, just make a Trotsky-Stalin again. Just keep bringing up the Trotsky-Stalin thing again. Oh, they're talking about the Ohio derailment? Trotsky-Stalin. Let's have a 5-hour conversation about who is better, Trotsky or Stalin. Oh, the world would be so much better if Trotsky was in charge, right? Let's do that again. I can't think of a better way to constantly make sure that Marxists are irrelevant, pointless, nerd losers talking in the corner about irrelevant bullshit than constantly, once again, over and 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 over again, bringing up this irrelevant, pointless, stupid debate about Trotsky versus Stalin, and we gotta pick a side. Which one really fucking matters? Who gives a fuck? They're both dead. They were both petty dickheads about it. They both could have done better. Fuck off with it. I'm so fucking over it. Like, I'm so fucking over it. I do not care. I do not care. If you're a fan of Trotsky, fantastic. Be a fan of Trotsky, right? If you're a fan of Stalin, fantastic. But if every single time I fucking bring up Stalin, there's a Trotskyist that comes in my ass, or every time I bring up Trotsky, some Stalinist gets in my ass, I fucking hate it. I fucking despise it. I think that it is the antithesis of intelligence and growth as a person. If you can't fucking bring up Stalin or bring up Trotsky without the other being brought up and having it devolve into this pointless debate about nothing. Like, who gives a fuck? I can't even understand why people give a fuck about this. Like, and for a while, I was willing to have the conversation and to put forward my view. And my view is that they're both historical figures, and we should be able to critique and analyze them without having it devolve into this fucking pissing match. But I'm fucking so goddamn over it. I don't care. Like, I don't fucking care. God damn it. Yeah, this is my position now. I don't care about this. For real. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not interested in it. It's boring and stupid. Like, we've got to grow up. We got to grow up about this. Like, for real. Like, who gives a shit about Stalin and Trotsky's little pissing match that they had in the corner? Like, yeah, it would have been nice if they could have worked it out, but they didn't. Right? So, what does that have to do with the Ohio derailment? Like, what does that have to do with any of this fucking shit? Oh, is it fucking nothing? Yeah, it's fucking nothing, and it's always going to be fucking nothing. Because it's a waste of our time. And it's goddamn annoying that there are entire, like, groups. There are entire fucking groups that have based their entire ethos and ideology off of this petty, pointless, worthless debate. That is the antithesis of actual knowledge or intelligence. And if every single fucking time I'm like, hey, let's have a discussion about what happened with Stalin during this period, the Trotskyists are going to start pissing on their Trotsky guy, then fuck off. Like, fuck off. It's annoying, man. It's annoying. Like, we need to have, like, legitimate adult conversations about this shit. Ugh. Yeah, please just go read the CIA's Simple Sabotage Field Manual from 1944. It lays out exactly how the sabotage of organizations with purposeful wasting of time is done. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's this great... there's this great document online that was attributed to Karl Rove that I don't know if it was Karl Rove, but it was attributed to him about how to kill online discourse, right? Force people to here, hold on, let's see if I can actually find it real quick. Ugh. Karl Rove online discourse manual? Is that? No, come on. Online. I can't find it. Oh well, that's fine. But it was along those lines, and it was like a list of things that you can do to make sure. Yeah, the Ohio derailment has to do with the system of profit, politicians aggrandizing that system, and the pro-capitalist rail unions capitulating. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Eric, I don't know what I need to tell you, dude. Like, I'm tired. I'm sick. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, Stalin wasn't, like, they didn't have the same system of systemic racism in the USSR that we have here in North America. Like, there isn't the same system of slavery that exists. There isn't the history of slavery that exists. Like, it just doesn't... Ugh. God damn it, guys. I am sick. I think I might actually have to call this, guys. Man, I feel super, super bad. I've been missing so many fucking streams recently. And I was looking forward to this because I'm like, I want to get back into the swing of it, but I'm like legit sick. Yeah, I'm going to call it, guys. Always remember, each and every one of you is a quantum being walking around in quantum energy. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the hopes you'll never realize it. Revolt, rebel, repent. Good luck. We're going to need it.